Podcasting is great. It gives you a chance to spread your message, connect with your audience, and interview amazing people, if that's what you're into. But how do you make money with a podcast? Well, that's what this video is all about, and I'll share with you the exact strategy that I use with my modern marketing podcast to add an extra 6 figures to my revenue. Let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Adam Erhart, Modern Marketing Strategist, and welcome to the Modern Marketing Show, where we help you make marketing that matters. So if you're interested in learning about the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing, hitting that little notification bell. It's no secret that if you don't already have a podcast, you may want to consider starting one. And if you have one, well, then these strategies are going to be that much easier to implement. Because as great as a podcast is for your brand and for your business, well, it's its ability to generate revenue that really makes it a powerful marketing tool. So let's get right to it. Here are 4 strategies that you can use to make money with your podcast, including the main one that I've used in my business to add an extra 6 figures to the revenue. Podcast moneymaker number 1 is sponsorship. Now, this one is kind of obvious, but it's still worth mentioning, especially as it's become more and more popular in our industry and across podcasting in general. The concept of getting a sponsor is actually really simple. Basically, someone sponsors your show, and in exchange for the money that they're giving you for the show, well, you'll either give them some kind of shout out or a tribute, or they'll get a spot on the show, or whatever you decide to negotiate. Now, you as a podcast host, or as the owner or creator of the podcast, are essentially being rewarded for the fact that you have a podcast. But the amount of revenue that you're going to be able to generate, or the amount that a sponsor is going to be willing to pay, is going to vary on a number of different factors, including how many listeners you have, what kind of brand or business you have, what market or niche or industry that you're in, as well as how long the podcast has been running, and all of those kind of factors. Sponsorship is an absolutely great and viable way to make money with your podcast. It doesn't happen to be the way that I chose because I'm a bit of a control freak and I like to have a little more control over the podcast itself, but regardless, I'm certainly not against it and I'm certainly not discouraging it. All right, so let's talk about podcast moneymaker number 2, which is paid advertising. Now, when it comes to running paid advertising on your podcast, there's a number of similarities and differences compared to sponsorship. First of all, a sponsorship tends to be kind of a longer term arrangement or a longer term agreement, and there tends to be a higher level of commitment. Whereas with paid ads, normally what people are looking for is a transactional relationship, though they can buy space in bulk. Now, when it comes to running the paid ad, this can be either recorded by the business that's buying the space on your show, or the podcast host can offer to record the ad for them, or simply make a plug anytime throughout the show. Common spots are at the beginning, somewhere in the middle, and at the end, not surprisingly. Now, just like with sponsorships, the amount that you're going to get per section of airtime is going to vary depending on your market and the industry and the niche and the listenership and all those other factors we already discussed. Now, when it comes to my podcast, I also don't run paid ads, but again, I'm certainly not against them, and they're a viable tool if you're looking to make an extra few bucks for your show. Moving right along to podcast moneymaker number 3, traffic. Now, this one has a little bit of a catch associated with it because essentially what you're doing is you're using your podcast to send traffic to whatever source that you want, which means you're gonna probably need somewhere to send it to. Now, if you have a good product or a good service and a good offer that's already converting well, then this is like adding gasoline to the fire by essentially giving more attention and more traffic wherever you want to send it. In fact, even if you don't have your own product or service, you can still use this method to drive traffic to affiliate sales or to joint venture offers or anything else where you'll get a kickback for some of the sales or some of the traffic you send. While I don't make money directly from the traffic from my podcast, I can attribute a sizable amount of my revenue from traffic that is originated from listening to the podcast. So a great strategy and a very viable one if you already have a functional business. And that brings us to podcast moneymaker number 4, networking, which is what has really enabled me to build a profitable podcast. Yes, the other 3 strategies are great, whether we're running sponsorships or paid ads or using it for traffic, but it is this 4th strategy that's really enabled the Modern Marketing Podcast to become a viable and crucial part of my business overall. The beauty of this final strategy is in its simplicity, and essentially it just involves being a good person who is good at your business and is offering value to other people. Basically, the networking strategy involves making new connections with people that end up turning into fun, professional, and profitable relationships for you and your business. Now, the key with running this networking strategy is that your podcast will need to have some element of an interview style show. So if your podcast is based entirely around interviews, that's fantastic. But if it's a solo show where it's just you giving a monologue, well, you're going to need to find some way to incorporate either guests or interviews or experts or something where you'll be able to get outside experts into your show. Now, the key with finding these guests is to make sure that they're professional and they're qualified and they're essentially well represented for the market that you're serving. The last thing that you want is an irrelevant guest who doesn't know about your topic or isn't an expert in their field and is basically just not providing value to your listeners, because that's a quick way to lose them. But the strategy overall is really simple. Be kind, be professional, know your stuff, listen well, and try to find out where they need help. If you can be the one to help them, that's fantastic. And if not, that's okay too. You can recommend or refer them to someone that may be able to. The key here is to try to serve and try to provide as much value as possible, both to your listeners and to your guest. So this sounds a lot like networking. You might be asking, what makes this such an effective strategy when it comes to the podcast? Well, let me give you a few reasons. For starters, when you interview them on your podcast, you're going to be having a discussion for about 30 to 60 minutes, which builds a tremendous amount of rapport. You're also giving them something of tremendous value, which is access to your audience and a network to share their message, which builds likability. Lastly, you're a subject matter expert who really knows your stuff, and you've got a podcast to prove it, which builds trust. And when you put these all together, at the end of the podcast, you've built a tremendous amount of know, like, and trust, and if there's an opportunity to help the person further, or if they know someone that does, well, that door is pretty much open for you. There's no need to be pushy, there's no need to be salesy, all you need to do is chat. At the very least, you've built a powerful new connection and maybe even a new friend. All in all, a podcast is an amazing marketing tool to have in your arsenal. It's fun, relatively easy to set up, and if you implement the steps we talked about today, can also add to your business's bottom line. I think that's a mic drop. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. Also, for more great marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, make sure to head over to adamerhart.com, which is packed with videos and podcasts and articles and all sorts of resources to really help take your business and your marketing to the next level and way beyond that. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on The Modern Marketing Show.